So in today's TNT, no news from Phuket, no news from Pattaya, as we head up mostly into northern Thailand for our news. Just a quick request, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so, closing in on 40,000, and maybe be nice to get there before the end of February. Hi, welcome to TNT, the 17th of February, and the reason I know that, well, it's my sister's birthday, which reminds me that my birthday's in 3 days. Done this 66 times, so I'm pretty used to the routine now. It's sort of birthday season in my family. It's a burning season in Thailand. Let's get stuck into the news. Thai PBS World on their Facebook page. Forest fires are still raging today. This would be yesterday in Thaplan National Park in Thailand's northeast province of Nakhon Ratchasima. Park officials have managed to prevent them from spreading. Let's find out a little bit more at nationthailand.com. Satellite sources reveal 1,355 hotspots in Thailand. So where are these hotspots? Well, 531 are in national reserved forests, 422 in conservation forests, SPK areas, I don't know what that is, agricultural areas, 138 spots, community in other areas, 71 points, I suppose they're the most dangerous, and then roadside areas, 3 spots. And then in neighbouring countries, the highest number of hotspots were found in Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam and Malaysia. Myanmar, obviously the biggest perpetrator with these, not being able to control either the forest fires or agricultural burning. Gives us the opportunity to check the IQ air map, and well, there you go. Chiang Mai today is the 12th most polluted city in the world. That's air pollution, and I've got an arrow there pointing to where Chiang Mai is, the circle representing where Bangkok is. So by far the northern areas of Thailand, the worst air pollution in Thailand today. Heading to another issue. This is highlighted in the Bangkok Post. Pedestrian crossings need to be safer. And beefed up safety measures at Bangkok pedestrian crossings are being urged as most road accidents have been found to occur outside schools and hospitals. And a recent incident was where a motorcycle hit a 68-year-old South Korean tourist at a pedestrian crossing outside the Kidney Institute Hospital on Phaya Thai Road in Ratchathani. And it was the same location where an ophthalmologist was killed by a motorcyclist while crossing the street 2 years ago. And that was, at the time, a highly publicised incident. Now, if you have travelled to Thailand over the years, you would notice that pedestrian crossings sort of work a little bit differently from the way they may in your home country. Now, I used to work in Bangkok, and for 2 years I would be going over one particular pedestrian crossing outside our building, and I got very used to the behaviour of drivers, motorcyclists, and the people crossing the road, all of which are at fault for making pedestrian crossings, a little bit less safe than they should be. Let's go on with the story. So the story quotes Chamaipan Santikan, the manager of Thai Health's social mobilisation for motorcycle safety project. And she said the fact that 2 accidents occurred at the same location, despite there being a clear stoplight, reflects Thailand's failure to address road accident prevention. And in many countries, she said, rumble strips are installed ahead of pedestrian crossings to immediately slow vehicles down, which can help prevent accidents. And then she's gone through 2 different countries, China and South Korea, and examples of how authorities have installed different systems to improve safety at their pedestrian crossings. And recent data from CCTV cameras at pedestrian crossings in Bangkok shows 20 high-risk locations where accidents often occur are in front of schools and hospitals. And there's a list of some of the schools and the hospitals where these incidents happen. So the plight of pedestrian crossings and the people that use them back in the news again, but you wonder, even despite all these deaths, whether anything will ever change. I hope you had a good weekend. It's been another spectacular weekend of weather at least down here in the south of Thailand, and a very good time to head out onto PHANG Bay. If you are down this part of the world and you'd like to see some of the stunning areas in PHANG Bay, I'd highly recommend 5 Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com. Please contact them if you are in the area, and we acknowledge and thank them for their sponsorship. As we talk tourism, and the past couple of weeks, the township of Pai, about 3 hours northwest drive from Chiang Mai, been in the news with some unruly tourists. Well, it's back in the news again. Perhaps more broadly with this follow-up story, foreign tourist crowds spark tension in Pai. People getting ready there for the tipsy tubing down one of the rivers in Pai. And amid the mountains of northern Thailand is a hub for backpackers to lie in hammocks, swim in waterfalls, walk along the bamboo bridge and bask in the sun as travellers slowly sink into what's known as the Pai hole. However, there could be trouble in paradise with an overpopulation of tourists, creating tension for locals. Now, I've been to Pai a couple of times, and there are many, many beautiful aspects of Pai, but it seems to be one of these locations in Thailand that is getting a bit overcrowded, and with so many tourists in one area, especially from different parts of the world, there are some cracks appearing in the otherwise very tasty slice of pie. And the article goes on, tipsy tubing, another popular Pai activity where hundreds of travellers pay 250 baht to float down the Pai River on inflatable tubes, stopping at bars along the way with drinks in hand and many phones sinking into the river. Hundreds of backpackers join in the tipsy tubing every week. The booming tourism has turned a once quiet town into the centre of northern Thailand's backpacking scene. Despite boosting the local economy by bringing money into the valley, Pai is also at risk of feeling culturally washed out. And a Canadian is quoted and featured in this article, and he says the thing that annoys the locals is the behaviour that some foreigners are bringing from their cultures into the valley, with some tourists acting disrespectfully at local shops and restaurants or after alcohol-fuelled activities. And being belligerent is not a vibe anywhere, but especially not normal behaviour to the local Thais. Now, he said the strain will likely subside when most tourists leave during the upcoming burning season. Well, certainly northern Thailand right in the middle of its burning season at the moment, and it looks like Pai is not only inundated by tourists, but also by smoke. As we head to northeastern Thailand, this in Yasothon. Stage backdrop collapses, injuring Deputy Interior Minister in Yasothon. The Deputy Interior Minister sustained minor head injuries when the steel backdrop of a stage collapsed as she was presiding over the opening of a traditional local ceremony in Yasothon. But it says the incident didn't stop her from finishing her duties at the opening ceremony. And the story also covered in Nation Thailand, 2 MPs and Deputy Minister injured as giant LED screen falls on them. And the incident occurred on Saturday just before 3 o'clock as part of the unveiling of the King of the Quail. And the dignitaries were seated and watching a traditional dance performed by over 3,000 dancers. And 2 other individuals were also injured, including an MP from Yasothon representing the Phumjai Thai Party. Now, he was taken to the same hospital and later transferred to hospital in Nakhon Ratchasima. Now, it certainly looks like a lot of dignitaries sitting up there on the stage. As we head back to Pai and a bit of a work permit issue, the story covered in khao-sot-english.com, international musicians' deportation from Pai sparks controversy. And a Brazilian musician's girlfriend has appealed to the media, claiming Thai immigration authorities used excessive measures in handling a minor work permit violation in Pai. Yael, an Israeli tourist, sent an urgent email to local media on February 16 detailing the arrest and subsequent treatment of her boyfriend Matus, a renowned Brazilian bassist, and other musicians at Jazz House restaurant in Pai. And quoting from the article, they're still being held with no explanation, no information, no dignity. Everyone who knows them knows how good-hearted and respectful they are towards the place and the local people. The treatment they're receiving right now is simply appalling. And according to Yael's account, the group was detained under harsh conditions, forced to sleep on the floor without basic necessities for 2 nights. And after appearing in court on February 15, they were fined 5,000 baht each, but instead of being released, they were transported to Mae Hong Son Immigration Detention Centre. Matus, who'd been touring Thailand as a tourist for 3 months, was scheduled to perform at 11 venues across Japan starting February 17. And the article finishes by saying the incident highlights growing tensions in Pai regarding foreign workers, as local residents have increasingly called for stricter enforcement of work permit regulations, particularly concerning foreigners taking jobs from local workers. So, interested in your take on that particular matter. Thais and Thai immigration in particular, and the Labor Department take work permits very seriously, but there are many musicians who come and in some cases just play casually, sometimes maybe for payment, and I suppose that's the grey area. But Thais do take this issue very seriously, of foreigners coming and taking their jobs. And with that, hopefully you're up to date with some of the main stories around Thailand. Have a fantastic Monday. Please subscribe on your way out, and we'll see you tomorrow.